But we just watched episode 21 of Gotham, the Anvil or the Hammer. So what did we learn? Well, we saw the ogre's apartment. Very nice. Lots of big open windows. No shades, even though he takes girls there to torture and put bags over their heads. Might want to invest in some shades, just saying. And speaking of the ogre, when he was asking Barbara, who do you want me to kill? Barbara, not sharp enough to say, yourself? Might have worked. And lastly, we got a little Breaking Bad sequence there when Ed Nygma was going to dissolve a body in his tub. I was just waiting for a guest appearance by Heisenberg. Maybe next season. I'm Chad Perkins, and this is the Gotham After Show. I did. Welcome to the Gotham After Show, the show that films about 24 hours after Gotham on Fox airs, to give you plenty of time to get in on the conversation. I am Chad Perkins. Welcome to the show, and welcome to the Red Couch of Convergence from the
Whoa,
I know, right?
Nice.
Topical. From the In the Comics podcast. He is David Cottingham at dcottingham21 if you prefer to follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks.
As well. The Hammer or the Anvil? Oh, but I didn't even mention that there's just two of us now, because that seems to be just commonplace for the past couple of episodes. Only two people. But next one is the last episode. You can bet there'll be all three of us. There better be all three of us here.
There will be.
Right, yeah. So the Hammer or the Anvil?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Seemed like it was part two of a two-arc series. We had talked about possibly it finishing out the season, but doesn't look like that's the case. So, you said you were surprised by the ogre getting killed. I wasn't so surprised. I figured once he had Barbara, I think there was only one way it was going to end,
Right.
So, but I thought it was a pretty good ending. I thought overall it was a decent episode, a good episode. I think there were a couple storylines in there that maybe we'll talk about that I'm not so sure about, but overall I liked the ogre storyline. I think it was a really good storyline. I think it was really good for Gordon because it really did solidify who he actually cares about.
Right.
And
definitely.
And because you kind of at least I had that thought, maybe, oh no, is this going to make him go back to Barbara? I mean, obviously we know he's going to end up with Barbara.
Right.
Which, I mean, she's a mess. I don't know anybody that could go back to her. But anyway, I thought it was a good episode, a good 2 episodes for him.
Mm-hmm. There were, just like the last episode, there was a lot happening in this one.
There was.
We had kind of this continuation of the Riddle Man emerging, kind of becoming the Riddler, seeing how he dealt with that. We had the Penguin's plan coming to fruition. Of course, we had the Ogre. We had everything else in here. But I think the most interesting, and also the Bruce and Selena storyline as well. But obviously the one that has carried through the season the most, I think, is the Penguin. And what he said to Jim in the very first episode, there's a war coming.
That's right.
There'll be rivers of blood. Da-da-da-da-da. And
took 21 episodes.
Well, yeah, just kind of as we predicted, he was going to be the one who started this war. And in fact,
he
boom.
did. Yep.
So what did you think? Were you surprised when the guns didn't fire? The guns that were hidden in the bar, they didn't fire. Are you surprised at all?
Not surprised. Because, again, we've been leading to this point.
Yeah.
Where as soon as it was mentioned or incorporated that when the I guess the hired gun guy that was in there, as soon as he mentioned Falcone, you knew it was set up. You knew that it was going to be Falcone, him retaliating against Falcone, which starts his gang war. Because, if he would have said, "Hey, the Penguin says this,"
right,
he would have got killed.
Right.
But the fact that he's setting it up like that's saying that this guy's working for Falcone, so Maroni's got the idea this guy's coming from Falcone. It's a pure Penguin-ish tactic. So Yeah, he's just sitting back laughing now.
Yeah. And I like how he took the lesson that he learned from Maroney, of taking out the firing pin and
That's
then
right.
turning on him to start this whole war. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that
was great.
pretty
That was good.
pretty genius.
And the fact that he didn't, I guess, he's keeping everything close because the fact that Butch didn't even know,
Right.
That's
Exactly.
it's very good for him to do. Or whatever.
The other, so that's kind of the Penguin coming into his own, and then also we have the Riddler, Enigma. We get to see how he dealt with snapping, because now he had a knife on him, and we really didn't talk about this last episode, but he had the knife on him. Do you think he went there with the idea to kill Officer Doherty, or do you think he just had it for protection and ended up snapping, going over the edge?
Yeah, it's hard to say because they make it look like he leaned into it, and then he just. But I mean, come on, he thrusted the knife several times.
It's kind of like, well, since it's already in you, I'm just going to put it in you
Yeah,
a lot more.
I haven't got my workout in today, so I'm just
Right.
gonna.
It's like, oh, I'm not a killer version anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Right, right. So clearly, I think to me, it looks like he had intent. Whether he was going to follow through with it, I think it helped that the guy kind of agged it on. But that whole storyline, at least, I was thinking today actually, and if you think about it though, if you lifted that whole thing out, it's like you don't really miss it. There's no contribution actually to the actual main storyline that's going on with Enigma. I mean, to be honest, I might be a little disappointed. I mean, I'm happy that we're seeing, because to me, clearly all that's going on is his thing. His only reason being on the show is really his transformation. It really hasn't contributed. He's been on a couple crime scenes, but not all of them. So it's like he's contributed a little bit to like the Gordon storyline and the main, but the last few episodes, it's been him and Kringle,
Right.
and you obviously see where it's kind of going, but it doesn't really factor into the Gotham show, in my opinion. I don't, maybe in the end it'll, Penguin is more tied to what's happening on, with Gordon and the crime and all that
Right,
stuff.
because those bosses were obviously tied in to the Wayne family
Right.
in some way or another, and yeah, so I can definitely see that.
And then, of course, the relationship that Penguin and Gordon with the favors, that they're developing is key. So, but Enigma is just, just there. I mean, he can.
For now.
It even shows how much people don't pay attention to him. He could bring a body in there and get rid of it without them even knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and that's the thing. He wasn't showing any remorse, I thought. He was just kind of nobody, no crime, nobody, no crime. How to do this.
Yep.
And
How to scientifically figure it out.
yeah. And still talk to Kringle.
Yeah,
and
like nothing's going
and
on.
not even cover up the body. Like, oh yeah, that's a dead body.
Yeah.
But we're in the morgue.
Did you think she was going to figure it out right there?
No, I didn't think so.
I did.
I thought she was going to get a little suspicious.
Yeah.
But she didn't seem like she even got suspicious.
No. I think he has no idea.
Yeah.
Oh.
What do you think of the note that he wrote?
Now, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it just simply lends itself to the Riddler. That's what he does. He basically flat out tells you he did everything. Everything either spells out Riddler or Enigma or Edward. Usually it's always everything points to him in the end. So yeah, he's clearly telling her who did it without telling her. You know what I mean? So it's pretty neat.
So that's the beginning of that. What is it? That need of his to leave those clues or those riddles, even when people don't know they are riddles.
For what I've read and know of the Riddler, he's it's everything is just a game. The biggest the big storyline right now in New 52 that he was involved in was 0 Year, right? He he blackened the city. He took all the electricity away from Gotham, and he's making chaos go on. And he's not like the Joker where he's intentionally inflicting pain and killing. He likes creating chaos and making games for everybody, and that's why he puts riddles out there. He wants people to figure it out, and here's the mess, here's the riddle how to get out of the mess. Let's see if you can do it, and that's all he is.
And if you can't and you die, you deserved it.
You deserve it, absolutely.
Because you weren't smart enough.
So that he's the kind of guy that just locks himself in a hidden room and lays it out there, and here's how you find me, and Batman usually figures it out.
Right.
But I think it's just fun for him. I mean, that was fun for him. It's like, oh, how can I tell her? How can I get her off the scent of him? But then put in there that I actually did it.
Right, and set it up for, hey, you should start dating nicer guys.
Correct.
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's games. It's games for the Riddler.
Well, speaking of Bruce solving mysteries, he's still on the season-long mystery. This time we had him going into Bunderslaw, which, can we just talk about that name for a second?
Yeah.
Bunderslaw.
Bunderslaw?
Bunderslaw.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know how you come up with that. I don't know. And I failed to look it up of whether or not he was an actual character, but
yeah.
But he'd have to be an actual character to make. I don't know how the writing team could actually just come up with that name, Bunderslaw.
Bunderslaw. It's Bunderslaw all along. But yeah, well, it kind of made sense when he walked in. He was like, "Hey, I've been waiting for you," because I really didn't feel like Selena did a very good job. She was like,
"Yeah,
okay." Like,
true.
Yeah, you can't feel that, honestly.
Right.
So yeah, maybe she's still got some work to do on her cat burglaring skills, but I'm
surprised he admitted it.
Oh,
right?
It's just kind of you're a 12-year-old kid who's gonna believe you,
right,
or whatever. And I guess he come to think of it, it's probably because of the Wayne history. I assume the grandfather started this all. Then Bruce's father learned of it, had objections, but then supposedly came around to it. So he's just expecting, okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you have your objections, but you're going to come around too because you're a Wayne. And if you know what's good for you and you want your trust fund, you just keep your mouth shut, basically.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is, I'd be pretty upset if they make his father out to be bad in a sense,
Yeah.
He may, what I feel like they're going to do is he may know of the corruption, know of things going on, and not that, and what Bundersaw was basically saying, that he learned to accept it. Well, I don't think I think what we're going to find out is he didn't accept it. He was collecting everything, and he has, as we kind of see from the previews, he's got the secrets.
Yeah.
And he just never got a chance to act on it. And now Bruce has a chance to.
And that's probably why he got killed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Eventually, he might have been getting there to the point where he knew too much, or he knew that he had enough to do something about it. And that's why he got killed, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know how we're going to see, or there's been no evidence really yet about if we're going to find out actually who pulled the trigger.
Well, do you think that'll be a season thing or a series thing?
I think that might be a series thing.
Yeah, I think it might be too.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks.
And then Bruce goes off to train.
Yeah, because it's unfortunate because, in every incarnation, I mean, Bruce knows who killed his parents.
Joe Chill.
Yeah. Just
read the comic, Bruce. Just
Just read
Detective 27.
Yeah.
You're rich. You can afford it. They made reprints.
Actually, it wasn't Detective 27, but
was that not where the?
I mean, he was Batman. He was introduced as Batman then. I don't know what the storyline of his parents
might
was.
have been
then,
Batman #1.
Maybe. Joe Chill's first appearance. We'll have to look that up. But but I don't think. I think he should know. I think we should get there before he becomes Batman or even decides to go down that road, you know. So because I do love the Nolan incarnation of it, where he wanted to go kill. He literally wanted to go kill him, you know, and realized that wasn't the way to do it. The way to do it is to become something more.
A symbol.
A symbol.
Well, I do love, talking about all this now, how you really didn't think about Bruce developing his detective skills because he was investigating his parents' murder. You just always kind of figured he had this tragedy, that's what made him want to fight crime, so he went off and trained, and correct me if I'm wrong with comic knowledge, but it seems like this is a new take with he started from the moment his parents got killed, developing his detective skills.
Yes, I think this is, that's the thing, is we've never seen this age of Bruce.
Yeah.
So it's always been jump to when he leaves and trains or when he comes back as Batman. So, yeah, we don't ever know kind of where he got his detective skills. We assumed that he just became that as he was Batman, became that detective. Now, obviously in the earlier part of the comics, he was more of a detective. He was investigating crime scenes, figuring out who did it, doing all this stuff. He's become, and more so since kind of Dark Knight Returns, he's more become that Dark Knight, that guy that everybody fears.
Yeah.
And he just goes after bad guys, and and we still get a little bit of detective work. That's the thing too, is in Batman, the book, it's more about bad guys and fighting bad guys, whereas in Detective Comics, you still get him a little doing more detective work or whatever. So, but it is interesting to see, if he does develop it, he's developing now as a young age, which contributes to what he becomes later,
That's one good thing about the Arkham games, is you have to do a lot of detective work in there, and that's I guess in Dark Knight he did reconstruct the bullet to get the fingerprint, and that's some.
He did some detective work in the Batman in Nolan's trilogy, absolutely,
yeah.
And in the first one, Batman Begins, when he went to the Narrows and was investigating there and all that stuff, so he did his investigating there, sure.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So Lucius Fox, speaking of Morgan Freeman.
A young Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
Right.
He made his first appearance in this show anyway. And see, I was with you. I was kind of like, I'm really not going to like this if they paint Bruce's dad to be corrupt.
Right.
And then here comes Lucius, and he's like, hey, your dad was a good man, and I wrote this down, and then I can never find it when I put it on the spot, but he said something like, your father was a good man, and he kept his best side hidden.
Yes.
And he's basically like, hey, that's all I can tell you, good luck, close elevator doors.
Yes, which is obviously a clue to, that he had secrets, but the secrets were probably the corruption of what's going on with Wayne Enterprises. Lucius, I'm glad we introduced him. He becomes obviously more important when he's Batman. But it seems like they're going to probably start using him a little bit.
It's interesting that he was a junior
executive or something like that. Yeah, he's not in like applied sciences or anything like that. Yeah,
that would kind of be a weird route to go from junior executive to like applied sciences.
He could be a junior executive in
applied sciences. There you go.
And in the division of applied sciences.
Right.
Yeah. It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Sure.
However unlikely.
Right. So what else went on in this episode? Well, we had this storyline about the Foxglove.
Yes.
And how Jim got this thug to confess about where it is, and Bullock goes in, and that was just interesting. That was an interesting.
Yeah, I imagined how we would see that place if it was on HBO or something.
Oh, right. Oh, wow. Yeah. probably a lot less clothes, and they would have shown what was on stage.
Stage, correct.
Yeah, and it would have gone on for longer.
Was it a pig sound?
There was a pig sound.
Okay, there was a pig sound.
Yeah.
Okay. So to make sure that I heard that right. Yeah.
So yeah. Don't know about all that, but
Yeah, Bullock didn't want to stick around and watch.
guess not. He's kind of a freak, but not that much.
Whatever happened to his lady friend?
Right, the redhead.
Yeah. I was hoping that would be kind of a thing,
Yeah.
for him. But
Guess not.
yeah.
Sorry, Bullock.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Barbara.
Oh, man.
Because it was a little hard to swallow her complete brainwashing.
Yeah, that was dumb.
Where it was like, tell me who to kill. No, really, tell me who to kill. Oh, okay. I don't know, I guess my parents.
Yeah. I mean, was it something that whatever it was that she drank that caused her to kind of be like loose like that, I guess? I don't.
Barbara's already loose.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, not in
Suggestible?
the same frame of mind,
Right.
That's the only thing I was thinking. Like, how can you just stand there and then your parents are just dead right there,
Yeah.
and be okay with it? And I don't know.
I mean, I guess if it's like, Stockholm Syndrome or something. But,
Yeah. Because eventually she was like, she told Jim, like, leave us alone or something like that. And it was like, what?
if it was something in the drink, they really didn't play that up.
No.
They didn't make that evident, I don't feel like.
That's the only thing I could think of to make her.
But I guess if he just scared her out of her mind
Yeah, I guess.
and just kind of like rebooted her.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
torture.
Like, she didn't faint, right? She was something in the drink.
No, I think she fainted.
You think she fainted?
I do. Because it happened right when he showed her all the pictures and she was like, you've killed all these women here. And it was like, yep. And then she was like, oh, so.
Yeah, but the way she went down, it felt like it was because of what she drank. But
Could have been.
yeah, so that's what I mean.
They didn't make
that's
that
what I mean.
clear.
Did that caused her to, be a little less involved or something like that? I don't know.
Possibly.
But that's what I'm saying. How do you come back from that? Like, how do you, as Jim, it's like, how do you even end up back with that? I don't know. They've taken her in a completely different direction than I ever thought that they would go. I never thought that it would be something like this with her.
Maybe this is one of those, how about this for a screwball theory? This is one of those Jimmy Olsen on Smallville things where, hey, this is my, what was it, cousin or brother? Jimmy Olsen, who looks...
Oh, they were brothers.
They were brothers, right.
Yeah.
Because when Jimmy Olsen died, we're like, what? And then, oh, here's my younger brother, Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
the
like...
older Jimmy, it would end up being the older Jimmy, his middle name was Jimmy.
Right.
It was Henry James Olsen, and then the James Bartholomew Olsen is the actual Jimmy Olsen, and that's what.
It's like, just call me Jimmy because of my brother.
So his older brother was middle name James, and then whatever. But
yeah. So maybe it's.
But it ended up looking like the same person.
Right. Yeah. Like here's my sister Barbara, and
like this is not the Barbara.
Right. This isn't the Barbara Gordon.
That would be freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe maybe this isn't. But see, that's the thing. I think it is Barbara Keene, which I think is. Now, if it was a different last name, maybe he just falls in love with a different Barbara.
Maybe he meets someone who's already named Barbara Gordon. He's like, oh, that's my last name.
Right.
We should just get married. It'll be easy.
Yeah. But no, I think he does marry Barbara Keene.
Yeah.
So,
you know what my fear was when he was like, tell me who to kill, she was going to say Leslie Tompkins.
I thought that too. I either thought, honestly, her, or I thought, okay, finally, Montoya's going to come back. She's going to kill Montoya.
Why would you want Montoya dead?
Because she kicked her out and told her,
Yeah.
I'm not with you anymore, kind of thing. And I thought, well, we haven't seen her in a long time. This is the chance to bring her back. But at first, I did think I think Leslie Tompkins. I thought that
I was worried.
I thought they were going to go after her.
But then, like you said earlier in the episode, Jim just reaffirms, like, I wasn't even thinking about Barbara.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you, and I don't love her anymore. I love you.
I know. That's
Yeah.
good. I'm glad they didn't end that yet. I hope they stretch that out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm okay with her being Batman or Batgirl's mom. That's fine.
Yeah.
Leslie, yeah.
Just flip the mythos on its
change it a
ear.
little bit, yeah.
Hmm.
A Barbara, a mom Barbara gives birth to when do you ever see that?
Right.
It's like when I found that out, and then their son is Jim, just like Jim.
Branch out.
I know, right?
One of those naming dictionaries or whatever. Jeez.
Yeah.
The one thing we didn't talk about when we were talking about Ed, I don't want to bring back up, was him smashing the skull, because he had this little Hamlet moment. He's looking at the skull, and then he puts it in a bag, and he just violently.
Yeah.
So I think whatever was in him that needed to snap has snapped.
Yeah.
And I think he's over the edge already.
I think he is over the edge.
I think he'll still remain in his same demeanor and act the same way and everything, and do the riddles and kind of be this quirky guy. But I think he's over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. He could enjoy this enough to start doing it, kill people and leave clues. That's
Oh, it could be the ultimate game.
right.
The high stakes.
I wonder if
game.
the cops can figure this one out. I'm going to kill this guy, leave a note, and that's it. And that it could be the start of something that happens in season 2 for sure.
Interesting. So, did you see the preview for next week?
Did see the preview?
Yeah, so we have this fireplace in Wayne Manor opening. We have Fish coming back with a new hairdo. Hey!
Yeah.
So obviously she's fine. It's weird to find that out in the preview, though. That just kind of kills the...
Or her return?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
a little bit.
anticipation. And we have a gunfight. That's one thing that the captain said in this episode was, we're in a shooting war right now. So what do you think? Any predictions?
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to end. I think there's going to be a little bit more of a conclusion than most shows we know of that just kind of leave you hanging for the entire summer. Smallville was the worst at that. They had always a to be continued thing.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get some kind of conclusion. I kind of think that the hidden secret that we see Bruce, they show the fireplace. I kind of think that that's going to be like the end. I don't know if we're going to see what's actually,
no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I think you have to do something like that to make sure we come back next season. So,
Sure.
And we know Fish isn't coming back next season, so something's going to happen there. So, we're definitely going to see a conclusion. I think every character is going to be in there, and we'll see some conclusions to most of these storylines, really.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, looking forward to it.
Yep. Definitely looking forward to it.
Indeed. So make sure to tune in for all 3 of us on a very special episode 22 of the Gotham After Show. For David Cottingham, it's D. Cottingham 21. I am C. Perkins 21.
And Joe Chill, first appearance was Detective 33.
Well, there you go. Ha! So, chew on that.
Chew on that.
Everybody. And until next time, you stay frosty.